Hi, everyone, and welcome to our cheat code video. I am Michaela, and if you're new here, this is part of our Level Up series, and our cheat codes are designed to be quick and simple how-to videos that help you level up tasks that you likely already do on a daily basis. So today we're going to be talking about running a Microsoft Teams meeting in a productive and efficient manner. We're likely all super familiar with running these meetings and attending these meetings, as many of us have been in either a virtual or a hybrid work environment for quite some time now. But Microsoft is always coming out with new improvements to their tools, and there may be a few tricks that you weren't aware of before. So I'm going to run through a few quick and easy ways that you can make your Microsoft Teams meetings more productive and more efficient for your team. So we'll start off simple with something you likely already do, but it's important to remember to always come into your meetings with an agenda. If you go into a meeting aimless, you're probably not going to cover everything you need to cover. You may not make the best use of both your time and the time of your fellow team members that are on the meeting with you. Whatever the agenda may look like for your team and whatever works best, it's just really important to make sure that everyone is on the same page for what the meeting will cover and what you're going to be talking about. Moving on to the actual meeting. So you've got everyone together now and on the same page, and it's time to screen share and get the meeting going. So when you go to share your screen, there's a few different options you can choose. So the first option is sharing your entire screen. So this would be your best option if you have multiple different windows open that you'll need to share in the meeting. The only downside to this option is that you may receive notifications from those different windows that you have open, and those would then be a little disruptive to your meeting if you're not necessarily using all of those windows to share to your team on the meeting. It probably is not the best idea to share your complete screen, which that's when the second option comes into play. So you only need to share one specific screen or window. You can use the window option that allows you to choose which window that you have open that you'd like to share. And that is the only screen that the other people on the meeting can see while you're going through your meeting. So if you have notifications or things popping up in the background that you don't want flooding into the meeting, if you share the one specific window, all of that would be hidden from the other people on the team or on the meeting. There also is an option to use it's kind of a newer tool. It's called Microsoft Whiteboard. So this is a really great option for team projects and anything that requires collaboration, such as planning or brainstorming, visualizing, whatever your team may need to work together on. It gives you a literal blank canvas to start with, and then everyone in the meeting can add to the whiteboard throughout the meeting. This works really, really well for drawing out processes or graphs or anything that's super visual. The whiteboard can come in handy. So once you've decided which is the proper screen share that you'd like to use for the meeting, you can easily go about your meeting and accomplish everything you need to. And you've heard us mention this before, but the chat box is an extremely useful tool while you're in meetings. Maybe there's a relevant link that you want to share with your team, but you don't want to get off task by screen sharing it and pulling it up for everyone to see. You can just send it through the chat box and everyone in the meeting will have access to it. They also can go back into the chat after the meeting is over and have access to any information or links that you sent through the chat box during the meeting. And obviously, anyone attending the meeting as well can send relevant links if there's something that needs to be shared with you or the other people on the team as well. Another easy tip that you may not have known actually comes from Microsoft Planner. So Planner is an extremely efficient and easy to use tool when it comes to keeping track of your tasks and to-dos within your team. So let's say you have a weekly meeting with your team and everyone is assigned different to-dos each week. While you're in these planning meetings, you can just open up the planner specific to that meeting as you're screen sharing and run through all of the to-dos to make sure that they're on track and getting completed. Sometimes, though, you may realize that a certain to-do or a task needs to be moved to a different planner. Maybe it's someone else's responsibility or it just needs to be tracked somewhere else. Either way, though, rather than having to delete it off of one planner and add it to another, taking up some extra time, you can just move it to any of the planners that you have access to. So this makes it super easy to keep your planners organized and hold the right teams and people accountable for their to-dos without causing you extra work trying to shuffle the to-dos back and forth between planners. There is also a tool within the Teams app itself called Meeting Notes. It's a little different than the Whiteboard tool that I mentioned earlier, as it's not a blank canvas where you can draw out and visualize things, but I think of it more as like a sheet of notebook paper on your screen to take notes before and during the meeting. So these notes are really beneficial because they're shared with everyone in the meeting and they're accessible to everyone even after the meeting as well. So folks can go back and if they didn't jot it down in their own personal notes, they can go back and see what the team took for the meeting notes after the meeting is over. And for one last quick tip, the Spotlight tool. You definitely have heard us mention this one before as well, but the Spotlight feature in Teams works really great when you have more than one speaker in a meeting. So this helps your team to not only know who's currently speaking and know where the information is coming from, but it also switches up the screen so that they're not staring at the same person or the same screen window for the entirety of the meeting. That is all I have for today's cheat code. As always, if you have any suggestions or topics or tools that you'd like to learn more about, please feel free to reach out to us. We would be more than happy to help you out and point you in the right direction. And with that, we will see you next time.